So Baby is I don't really remember how I wrote it. I just remember one day I had it. I think it just happened really quickly. It's just a song about bad friends and like being surrounded by people who aren't making you better and realizing I need to make myself better because you're not doing it. You know, you can't rely on other people to make you better, but you know, if you surround yourself with good people, you grow, and if you surround yourself with bad people, you don't grow. So yeah, it was just about that and realizing like, oh, hold on, I need to sort myself out. Yeah, Deep was the first song that we wrote that we were like, okay, this is our sound. That was, you know, we have a long like love for Deep, I guess.
It's quite old. We recorded it in like 2019, I think, maybe, or like 2020.
Vintage.
Yeah,
vintage
art. So it's probably the oldest. Oh no, Iron Lung.
It's definitely the oldest recording though. We didn't. It's the only thing we didn't re-record for the record because we had the biggest nightmare recording it the first time. Like we couldn't get it. None of us were happy with it for so long.
We nearly broke up the band.
Yeah.
It really did.
We were the amount of times we stress cried over that song. So
we decided to not open the vault. We were like, just remaster it and don't touch it. So it's untouched.
Yeah. I feel like a good producer is more like a good, you know, judge of character, good like reader of human emotion.
Yeah.
Just he's more like our therapist sometimes. You know, he can kind of gauge what we want from him, really without even asking us at this point. Like he's a great friend, which is amazing. It was lovely to hang out with him, but he gets what we want, and it doesn't, you know, it can be really awkward when you're sat there and you're like trying to get your point across and they're just not understanding it. Whereas I can be like, oh, I just want it to be a bit more and he just knows what that means, you know. And so he's been like fundamental in helping us develop our sound and letting us like be more curious and brave with where we go with it.
Yeah. Deep was like, we had 2 versions and we both liked bits of each. So we it was called Frankenstein for a while because we kept putting bits from each.
I forgot that we did that. We recorded it 2 completely different ways.
Yeah.
And then he just took all the verses from one and all the choruses from the other.
And then it used to also be called Valentine.
It did,
fact. It was going to be released on Valentine's Day and then it didn't get done in time. Thank God.
Yeah.
It's easy, I'm not selfish, I'm not needy.
So this song was written like kind of like coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was just, I wrote it about personally, there's a fly. I wrote it personally about grief and like missing someone that I couldn't be with. But also, I think that was probably triggered by the experience that we had all gone through, and actually like a lot of people were feeling the same thing in various ways, whether it's that you actually just couldn't physically see someone or whether they'd lost someone or whatever it was. It just felt like a really appropriate time to bring that song out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recorded it in a barn.
We did record it in a barn.
That's my least favourite drum track to record because it's so much bass drum and Steve's like, again, and I was like, please no more. So.
And I played drums on that track.
You did also, we layered all the drums.
It wasn't just me. I played one fill one time.
Yeah.
At the same time as Clara.
There's multiple drum kits on there. I think it's like 4 drum kits on there.
Yeah. Steve once said to us when we were, I think, stressing about like, can we push it this far? He was like, it's always going to sound like you because it's got your voice on it. And we were kind of like, oh, yeah, all right. Well, then let's just push it all the way. And yeah, it's like my favourite song.
Yeah, we did kind of do it too as a joke at the start. We like put the autotune on really high, and then we were all like, oh,
it sounds great.
We were like, keep it. Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun one to record.
It was. I love how different it is. I think it's important that we like, as a band, we do cover quite a few genres because we don't restrict ourselves in that way. So we just felt there's no point half-assing anything. You've just got to lean into it all the way. And that one was really fun. And like Clara gave me this look after it, like there's no more autotune. You're not putting autotune over the whole album.
Harry just kept being like, "Ooh, maybe on this song." And I was like, "Let's do one, and then we'll go." Steve was like, "Not the whole thing."
But you'd
Harry."
love to hear Iron Lung with autotune.
I'm not against it.
You were.
I was against it being on every song.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I know I have to wait, but it's a long day until the end of the night. Oh, by the morning we should still be mine. Ooh, God knows I've tried. God knows I've tried.
That song is just like, what we really loved about it is I feel so empowered singing it.
Yeah.
And it does feel as if that translates to people, and they're kind of people who are being a bit shy or whatever end up shouting, and it's just like the whole thing feels very empowered. And that's kind of why we wanted that to be like the focus of the
Yeah.
record. And yeah, when you have an audience of people singing at you, I cry every time. I've cried.
Yeah.
How many times have I cried on stage in this tour? It's just it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It was very quick as well. Like when we recorded it, we were quite like, everything we tried, we were like, yep, that's staying. Yep, that's staying. And like, we kind of like, yeah, we just kept throwing ideas at it. Steve was like, let's put scissors on it. So like all the snares are like scissors. So it goes, and that's Hanni's scissors. And like the bridges were like actually an accident. Like Steve pressed something and it started going like, and we were all like, oh.
Yeah.
And like everything we tried, it was like a lot of songs are like really difficult to get to like the finished point, but that was one where we were just like everything worked, and it was like
it was very instinctive, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was, I think, my favorite one to record. It just was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, with Pillar Queens, we stand them. I was a big fan and like followed them for years, and I kind of spoke to them at shows and stuff, and they were always really nice. And when we started playing together, we messaged them and saying like, you know, we'd love to support you or whatever. And then eventually, one day we just got a message being like, do you want to support us on this UK tour? Just completely out of the blue. I think we were on tour.
Yeah.
And they wanted us for the next week or something.
Yeah.
And then we toured with them, and they were so great, and it was such fun.
Yeah.
And then we ended up touring
3 more times.
3 more times with them. And yeah, the opportunities they gave us really like changed our career in such a massive way that we wanted to have a moment to sort of thank them for that and acknowledge the influence that they have had on our career. Yeah.
And they were like, they were very open to it.
Yeah.
We were just like, do you want to be on it? And they were like, And then they recorded it remotely and sent it in, and then we Steve did.
Felt very official.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an honor to have them on there. It's pretty cool. It's the only feature on the album as well. So
yeah. This one's like, is it the oldest song?
that is the oldest song.
The oldest
actually.
song on the
just thinking
record.
about
Like, it used to be a real country song, but I think, to be honest, there's a part of me, and maybe a part of both of us, that would release an album of songs just like that.
Yeah.
In a very sort of like boy genius
Yeah.
area, if you know, in a parallel universe. So I really I found that song so indulgent. Just being like, now add this, and it sounds like a bath to me. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that song, when we slowed it down and figured out a way to make it work in a different way, we fell back in love with it a bit. Actually.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's always been an important thing for me to have like a lot of dynamic in kind of a performance or a body of work, just so you can
Sure.
yeah.
Well, that.
It must be great for you live.
Yeah, I love that song. No.
Just
on the album, the drums actually, we recorded a whole drum take and then it got cut. We were like, this is too heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And
We just kept on being like, turn Clara down.
yeah,
Turn Clara
to
down.
the point where I wasn't in it, and I was like, oh. So I'm actually, it's just a cardboard box, and I literally just tap a cardboard box, and that is the drums on
Yeah.
there. So yeah, Steve made a cardboard box sound like that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It then got returned as well, so someone out there.
yeah, someone has the.
Oh no, he
cardboard
sold
box.
it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Someone owns the
the cardboard box.
Yeah. They'll never know.
Whoa.
Stuck on you. Turn, I see nothing else. I'm stuck on you.
That one was like, we kind of had two different parts. We kind of did a bit of a Frankenstein thing as well, where we had like the verse and then we had this riff, and we were kind of trying to make them two different songs. So then we were just a bit like, why don't we just like,
Yeah.
and I think it's one of my favorites because you just don't expect it, and I kind of love that, and we've always tried to kind of do that as a band, and it's also like so fun to play live. So yeah, it's one of my faves.
Absolutely. Like both of us like love Haim, and our favourite song by them is My Song 5.
Yeah.
And it has like a similar energy of, you know, it's so like nonchalant and then just like
Yeah.
which is it's watching that is so it's such an incredible experience.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to find a way to like, bring that to our record. Okay, this was a rogue one.
This is the roguest one on the album.
It is very rogue. What happened with that one?
We had it on piano, and we were on a very tight time schedule, and we ended up recording the drums in a church. Because we couldn't get the studio in time, so we recorded the drums in the church. So they're so like boomy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was one of the last ones we added in, but we kind of just leaned into it being different. We were like, there's no point trying to make it sound like this polished.
Yeah, I think I kind of had played it on acoustic and was like, I feel like this song fits with the record.
Yeah.
And then Steve was like, just do that then. Which I think it's a very honest song.
Yeah.
So I think it probably makes sense that it's just kind of stands alone as just like a voice and guitar. And we had loads of our friends sing on it. That was a really nice thing.
Oh yeah.
We had like a little mini choir, which was so cool, with a bunch of our friends from bands. And we had Holly from Curls.
Yeah.
We had Chloe Pamplin from Chloe Pamplin. We had Annie from Clit Drip.
Yeah. Lucy from Projector.
And Lucy from Projector, and Oh Hell. She's got two bands. And that was just a really cool day of having like loads of people that have inspired, like, well, me, but us in one room, kind of joining on the record. It was really cool.
Over me, my time, my body. Now I have the power. Now I have the power.
Yeah, and I'd had these ideas, but they weren't in the right order. And I thought, these are kind of cool, but I could never really get them to work out. And then, we were talking about it in the car. I think I played you what I had on my phone. And then we decided to run with it, and it was just one of those ones that came together so fast. And that's one of the things that's like Steve is so good at. He's like, well, that's your chorus. That's your verse.
I remember hearing that line, like, who knew the last time I saw you be the last time I saw you, and I was like, surely that's the chorus. Like, that's the bit that, like, because Hanni was like, oh, we need a chorus, and I was like, that's you've said that already, and that's great. So we just kind of smushed it in.
That's true. We didn't have the chorus.
No, we didn't have a chorus.
We got to recording, and we got there. I was like, oh, Clara, meet me there, 15 minutes early, because we need to bosh out a chorus before Steve arrives. And I was like, right, chords. And then it just came, I think we wrote it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, and Steve turned up and we were like, done.
We like to do things last minute.
Yeah.
Don't hate you and I hold my breath as I pass it over. Let go.
Iron Lung was like a game changer for us. And that's why it just had to be on the record. It kind of doesn't fit with anything, but we didn't care. We were like, this is so fundamental to our journey that it needed to be there. So like when we released Iron Lung like a million years ago,
2018,
we messaged the people at Spotify and said like, this is our new song, can you listen to it? And it turned out to be Dexter, who is now our manager, and he really supported us and he put us on all these playlists, and then playlists became playlists and whatever, and got to over like 1 million streams,
Yeah.
which is, at the time, I think we were excited if it got over 1,000 on
Yeah.
the, you know, in the first week. And so that was crazy, and it just changed, like, opened so many doors for us.
Yeah. It
Um,
meant like we had enough money to go on like mini tours and just
Yeah.
and people kind of took you a bit more seriously. It was, yeah. I think we both said as soon as we started writing it that we were like, Iron Lung has to go at the end. So
yeah.
it was always like it's not budging.
Yeah. But yes, so we've always we've all got a soft spot for it, and we love to play it live.
Yeah.
Um,
When we redid it, we kind of were like,
Yeah.
we were like, if it's gonna go on, it's got to sound current. So we added
Yeah.
all these weird like synths, and Hanni made all these weird vocal sounds, and I really enjoy
That
it
was
on the
so
album.
fun.
Yeah.
he just left the mic rolling,
Yeah.
and I was like, ah, ah, for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's like a kick-ass way to end the album, isn't it? Can't believe we just said that.
So there are,
This I think the Friends of Steve's.
yeah, they have a name, and I wish I could tell you the name. We'll put the name here of the choir. They're amazing.
Yeah, we'll cut out the bit where we don't know their name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the choir were friends of Steve's, or friends of Steve's.
Yeah.
And we decided that we really wanted this choir on there, because for me that whole song "Ride or Die" is was like so heavily influenced by one of my favourite influences, which is Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who is the reason I play electric guitar, is the reason I play an SG. And she's like, we used to stand up in church and like play rock and roll, like one of the first people to play rock and roll, which I just thought was incredible. And so in this song we were like, it's the most rock and roll thing we've done. The breakdown should be, let's take it to church, you know, let's go there. So we got this choir and we recorded it in an old church, and that was really cool. But they were so good, and they just kept doing all this stuff, and I was like, that has to go in, it just sounds so nice. So that outro was just them warming up, I think.
Yeah.
But it sounded so lovely that we thought we just have to find a space for it.
It was my best friend's favourite track on the album.
The outro.
She was like, I love the outro. I was like, that's the only thing we didn't do, Catherine. So yeah, you might also love the outro. But yeah.
Oh man.
That's amazing.